My big talk. When I was a young boy, my father took me into the city. That's just the opening to Welcome to the Black Parade by My Chemical Romance, rest in peace. That has no bearing on this talk whatsoever. Totally extraneous. Anyway. But when I was younger, I was 16 years old, I wasn't always planning on going to college. In fact, it was not even a factor to me in that time span. But certain things happen, life changes, you get older, you start thinking about things, and I decided to go. Just on a whim, honestly. But right before I left my hometown, I was 18, an old acquaintance of mine gave me 3 pieces of advice. Those pieces of advice have stuck with me. They've really changed who I am and how I think about everything in the world, quite frankly. They changed my life. I'm hoping they'll change yours too. Those pieces of advice are this. Don't make too many friends. Don't get complacent. Keep moving. Now, on the surface, that sounds like really terrible advice. But even if it was kind of intended to be on a certain level, we'll talk about that in a sec. It's what I did with the advice and what you can do with the advice. That's what really shapes things. And that's what makes it stand out. And that's what helped me. And I really hope that with this, I can expand that to you and show you what it means to me and how it can help you as well. So let's take a look at it, huh? Number 1, don't make too many friends. Again, that's one of those things that on the surface sounds kind of shitty. I'm not gonna lie. But when you really think about it, it's a little more sound than you might originally think. Think about the people you call your friend. Think about all the people in that circle. Now really think about which ones mean something to you. Think about the ones that really stand out as the inner circle, the ones that you were the closest to, your best friends or what have you. Think about what goes into each one of those relationships. Think about how much effort you put into them. Now imagine trying to do that level of effort with everyone that you call your friend. That just isn't gonna happen. That does not fly. There's no way in hell any single human on the planet could do that. And so by extension, at a certain level, you kind of gotta cut your losses with some people. Some people are just gonna get more attention than others. That's just the way it has to be. Like I said, you can't maintain that level of connectedness with everyone you meet. Not everyone is going to be as good of a friend as anybody else. So maybe it is don't make too many friends, but at the same time, don't make too many friends just means limit yourself to who you say is a friend and who you don't. Back in high school, I was what you could consider popular. I was one of those people that pretty much everybody knew, whether you liked me or didn't. And a lot of people did, not to toot my own horn or anything, but I was a well-liked person because I was very social. You know, I knew a lot of people. I didn't like all of them. Hell, I couldn't. Some of them were just jerks. They were dicks. They were assholes. I didn't like everyone, but I did. And I had only, like, a certain number of people that I really did enjoy hanging out with. So I hung out with them. Out of that circle, I would say only 3 of them were actually my friend. And you want to know why I know that they were my friend? Because they were the only people that to this day I still maintain contact with. Everybody else, once you got out of that circle, we never talked. We haven't talked since. There's a whole majority of them. I haven't spoken to them in years. Does that make me a bad person? I would say no. And it doesn't make you a bad person either. Because people change. You grow, you adapt, you become a new person. And they do too. You're not always going to get along with these people. Every now and then you get that one person who you've known forever, who's your best friend. I don't have one of those, but you know, you might. But still, you gotta maintain who really is and isn't in that inner circle of friends. Because maintaining it takes a lot of effort. At the end of the day, you gotta focus on numero uno. That's just the bottom line. Number 2, don't get complacent. Take it from someone who at one point was complacent. Complacency doesn't do anybody any good. Like I said, back in the hometown, 16 years old, I didn't think I was going to college. If you had told me at that point that not only was I going to go to college, but I would graduate college, or there's a very good chance that I graduate college, I wouldn't have believed it. Because I was complacent. Because I knew where I belonged in that little tiny crap hole of a town, and I didn't want to leave that. Now, don't get this mistaken for comfort. Complacency and comfort are 2 very different things. Comfort is great. You should seek out comfort at any given point. Do not seek complacency, and if you have complacency, break free of it. Because creativity is killed by complacency every single time. I knew what I was good at in that hometown. I knew who I was there. And once I got out of that, sure, it was scary, sure, it was daunting, but I wouldn't have become who I am if I hadn't. I wouldn't have changed and adapted and become what you see before you now. I wouldn't be wearing this absolutely amazing flower hoodie if I'd stayed in that town. I would have continued to grow complacent. I never would have changed. I never would have adapted. I never would have become a new person. And that's what life is moving on and becoming a new person every single day with every single action that you take. Complacency will drop that dead. Don't go for that. And number 3, keep moving. Now, look, this honestly was probably given as more of a physical type of piece of advice, because this was given to me by a person who I am convinced had never stayed in a place for more than 3 years. He just kind of drifted around everywhere. And we don't all have that luxury because, money or whatever. And some of us like to live with roofs over our heads. I certainly do. But regardless, even if you don't take it at a physical level, take it at a mental level. Keep moving, to me, the way I've taken it, the way I've used it over all these years, has just meant to never stop going somewhere, no matter where that somewhere is. Back home, I lost a very near and dear friend of mine. He was my best friend from there. And that was honestly the kick in the pants that I needed to get out of that hometown, to tell me to go somewhere else, go to college, get a degree, do something with my life that wasn't stuck in that little town of little people, of little thought. That's what got me out of there. I could have stayed complacent. I could have just wallowed in my grief there for the rest of my life. But I got up, and I kept moving. Bad things are going to happen in life. That's just the nature of it. There's no avoiding it. But you got 2 options. You can either fall down and stay there, or you can pick yourself back up, and you can keep moving. Because life's going to keep moving with or without you. No matter what you do, time doesn't stand still. Quite frankly, neither should you. The only true failure comes in accepting failure. So that's the advice I have for you. 3 little short pieces of advice that, quite frankly, seem innocuous, and on a certain level, I suppose they are. Most people go through their entire lives without ever hearing this, and most people will go through their entire lives without ever hearing this, and they're no better or worse for it. But quite frankly, I've always felt that I've been better for being given this advice. Again, even if I have interpreted it in a way that is not intended at all. But you know what? That's just who I am as a person, I guess. And quite frankly, this advice has sort of defined that in a way. I sincerely hope that it has helped you, or can help you, at the very least, in the same way that it has helped me. Thank you.